Unless Sony finds a couple million more PS2 sales between the couch cushions, the Nintendo Switch is on track to be the greatest selling gaming console of all time. And in my humble opinion, it's one of the greatest consoles ever made. Despite its relative lack of horsepower compared to the PS5 and Xbox series, the Switch showed us that having a console that could be on the big screen or on the go was a literal game changer. However, the concessions made for the system to work on the go led to its games performing worse than its competitors. If you wanted to play a multi-platform game on Switch, you were signing up for lower resolutions, choppier frame rates, or even cut content. That's why, 8 years after the launch of the Switch, the Nintendo Switch 2 was announced. It's everything we loved about the Switch, but bigger, sleeker, and potentially more powerful. Rumors suggest that the Switch 2 could be as powerful as the PS4 Pro or even the Xbox Series S, so the performance gap between Nintendo and its competitors is about to shrink even further. With a bump in specs comes a bump in possible ports. Alongside the new Mario Kart, rumors suggest the Switch 2 could receive some of the biggest games of this decade. Imagine being able to take Final Fantasy VII Remake, the Master Chief Collection, or Cyberpunk 2077 on the go. Thing is, you can already do that. The Switch launched 8 years ago, and in that time, it's inspired dozens of new handhelds that brought PC games out of the desktop and into gamers' hands. The Steam Deck is probably the most prolific of these handhelds, with a reasonable price, beefy specs, and native support of the biggest PC gaming launcher of all time. It's got access to thousands of games. So the question is the Switch 2 exactly what we need, or is it too little too late with PC handhelds on the market? Nintendo's eShop for the Switch has about 5,000 games, which is one of the largest console libraries ever made, and nearly all of those games will be compatible with the Switch 2. That's a pretty massive library to start with on a new console. That said, it pales in comparison to Steam's 70,000 plus games, even if only 1,500 of those are confirmed as playable on deck. Many games remain untested or unplayable, but that's still a library thrice the size of the Switch 2's. Top that off with the fact that after decades of Steam sales and Humble Bundles, many gamers already have a massive PC backlog that they can tackle with their deck. Steam has been around since the launch of the Switch, and many years before that, so many multi-platform titles that launched on Switch are also available on deck, and for all of the games that are on both, I have yet to play a single game that plays better on Switch. While Dragon Quest III's HD 2D remake, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, and Bugsnax are all on Switch, they are way prettier on Steam Deck. A lot of folks agree that the Nintendo Switch is a paradise for indies. It is way easier to release an indie game on Switch than previous Nintendo systems, but that still requires a developer to be approved by Nintendo and to get the proper hardware and licenses. Developing for PC is so much easier, allowing even more developers access to put their games on Steam. The deck might be the perfect way to play some of the most hidden of gems. Early access might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it's not something that you can find on Switch. If you want Hades 2 on the go, it's a work in progress exclusively on Steam. Beastie Ball, Windblown, and Temtem Swarm are all early access as well, and they make for amazing on-the-go experiences. Unfortunately, since they're still cooking, they're not allowed on the Switch until they're done, so I'll be playing these on deck. In the opposite direction of indies, Final Fantasy VII Remake, one of the most wanted games for the Switch 2, is already on Steam, and is verified to run on the Steam Deck. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth launched with Steam Deck verification as well, and Square Enix actually sent me a copy to check out. I had no idea it was possible to squeeze a game this massive into a portable after it was the poster child for what the PS5 Pro could do, but I'm here for it. It might run at a little lower fidelity and frame rate, but it's on the go. If I really wanted to, I could run this on PC for the prettier experience, but this still looks great on Steam Deck. But that's another cool feature of the Steam Deck. Thanks to Steam's cloud saves, you can seamlessly bounce between deck and PC without any issue. You can choose between portability and performance, similar to the Switch's dock mode. You can even get a dock for the deck too, so you can put your PC games on the TV if you really wanted to. So far, if you're looking for games on the go, Switch and PC handhelds both offer similar functionality, but the Steam Deck has the edge so far due to its larger library, power, and flexibility. There's more to a portable console than performance in games though, and portability is where Nintendo thrives. The Steam Deck is chunky, which isn't totally a bad thing. It fits comfortably in your hands, but you're not fitting this thing in any pockets. I also can't imagine putting this thing in a bag without a carrying case either. It might be a handheld, but it doesn't really feel portable. On the other hand, the Switch and the Switch Lite can fit in a decent sized pocket. Even with its increased size, the Switch 2 could comfortably fit in a pair of cargo pants or in an outer backpack pocket. It's sleek and it's flat. Not necessarily great for ergonomics, but perfect for portability. It'd be way easier to take a Switch on a plane than a Steam Deck. Not to mention, if you're on a flight with someone and want to play a game of Mario Kart together, you can slide the Joy-Con off and each of you have a controller. When you get home, you can dock your Switch, take the Joy-Cons off, and you've got another controller. Put your deck on a dock and you'll need a separate controller. Thankfully, it's compatible with pretty much every Bluetooth controller out there, so that's not too much to ask. That said, while it's easy for you and me, think about your average grade schooler trying to pair a controller to the Steam Deck. It's not as easy as slapping a Joy-Con on or plugging in a Pro controller and it just working off the bat. And this is where we get into where the Steam Deck will never be able to compare to the Switch. Ease of use. Sure, the deck comes with an entire desktop mode, but your average user doesn't even know what a file is. Many folks struggle with fine-tuning their game experiences. When you launch a game on Switch, if it's built for Switch, it's guaranteed to work. Ease of use is everything for the average gamer, and Nintendo is a master of getting you into the game. Even with online shopping as the go-to for the average Joe, retail presence is important. You can get a Switch at any major department or electronics store, and I anticipate the Switch 2 will be the same. The Steam Deck and other PC handhelds are more niche purchases, with rare appearances at retailers. Not to mention, while Steam's gifting system is lovely, Grandma can't go out and buy you a Steam game at Target. And no, a gift card doesn't count. Even though the Steam Deck is objectively better in so many ways, that's the tech enthusiast in me talking. Really, I think the Switch 2 has its place. The average person just wants to game, and the Nintendo experience is smooth from start to finish. You'll be able to find this thing at any retailer, and you can pick up the controllers and games off the shelf that are guaranteed to work. Oh, and the Switch 2 has the new Mario Kart. And it'll have Pokemon. It has Nintendo games! I probably should have led with that. Nintendo games would sell this thing no matter what the specs are. So what do you think? Does the Switch 2 need to exist? Do you have any kind of PC handheld? Are you getting a Switch 2? What's your favorite way to game on the go? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.